Welcome back, everybody, to the welcome to rather the Silent Hill Ascension post show. I'm Eduardo here with Layla, and Layla, let's break it down. Let's talk about what we just watched, because how shall I don't even know what's wrong with Eva at this point, or Faith. Like, honestly, I can't deal with either.
Well, we know what's wrong with Faith. It's Faith. Ava. Oh, again, the whole time we've been building up and building up and building up to increasingly unsettling occurrences with this little girl. And now it's coming to a boiling point, and I don't want to see that kettle whistle, Eduardo.
No. Like, there's a little bit, how shall I put it? There's a little bit of dialogue in that discussion. We will break it down, of course, for you, the audience, don't worry. But there's some dialogue in that discussion involving, like, killing and monsters that wasn't quite the way you'd want it to sound, given the words you have. But we'll break that down. One of the things, Layla, is we're going to talk briefly about some of the people we saw in that scene. Those were people from the audience. Those were, like, with Hogan, though, right? Like, kind of like her fellow detectives.
Yeah, we had some folks there who got called in with Haugen, and apparently think she's not doing so great. But hey, if you want to be a person that gets called in to tell one of our characters they're not doing so hot, you can be an extra in Silent Hill Ascension by being a cameo. So you can take part in cameo contests regularly. Cameo contests are entered with influence points, and Eduardo actually has more details for you.
Right. One of the important things for you, the audience at home, is you're going to be a part of the show. You can be, you don't actually know what your role's going to end up with. So sometimes you get an incredible role. Sometimes you end up living and dying like Leonardo did. But the important part about it is you, the audience member, can be a part of Silent Hill canon forever, right? That's actually canon, right? You get to rewatch the scene and you get to see yourself dying over and over, which is some kind of messed up Groundhog Day. Now, the thing is, each day, those cameos contests take part. You can take part in them. So that's with influence points. So, but Layla, that's the thing. I can't get enough of our audience members dying. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good time. I like to see them die when they make jams. I like to see them die when they check in on our characters. I like to see them die when they try to pet a dog. There's so many different ways to die here in Silent Hill Ascension, and I think you should take advantage of more of them.
Exactly. Didn't you always wish you could just die in a horror show? That's important to me. Now, the thing is, we're gonna have a video play in the background, right? Because I really want to get back to Eva. That was why I had trouble. Like, we have these segues, right, to tell you about cameos. But the thing here for me was Eva really messed up my psyche. She's enraged by the monsters swarming the farm. That's going to be on your screen behind us. She tells Carl about her plan to kill them at an upcoming memorial for a tragedy that occurred years ago. Things are really wrong here. Like, this is really messed up.
Yeah, it seems like doing killing at a memorial is not like the best, thing to be doing. Again, this little girl is up to no good. And I understand wanting to defend yourself, right? I understand feeling threatened, especially by monsters. But I think it's actually maybe an indictment of the adult in the room that she is not asking him for help. And it's like, no, I got it. I'm taking this into my own hands and into my own rifle, and I'm off. I'm going to do this myself. Bad. Yeah.
Not great, right? Especially when you go back and, I think there was a decision right earlier on where this Carl trainer or not, that went one way. So maybe not the way that's great with that kind of speech.
Would you want Carl to train you to use a firearm? I don't think he's the guy I would ask.
No, and I mean, there was that moment with the forager as well. There was that moment where like Eva, was like, oh, I missed my chance. I was like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, missed your chance to what? To do senseless murder on the jam guy? Come on, he likes strips.
No, that's the thing with Eva here. It's just like a character that we've seen time and time again, and every time you see Eva, you're in for a creepy time. Faith, younger character, tries to do the best out of it. So it's kind of a contest, right? It's like between Eva and Faith, who would you pick as creepiest right now?
Oh God. Well, we know that there's something up with Faith. We don't know what's going on with Ava, and I think that the mystery is the creep factor for me.
Well, here's the thing, Layla. So one of the things is there's a decision that came up. So that's going to be thrown on your screen in just a bit. Now, one of the things we did that's not here, but that's kind of in the because you're watching us live. So I'm going to tell you what's there so you can check it out later. But we actually got a new final fate decision. So that graphic's going to be on screen. Layla's going to read it to you, and we're going to break down what all of this means.
Yes, we had a big day on Friday. We had a not so big day today, but that just means we're going to have a big day later in the week because how will Carl handle Ava's plan to save the town? A, defend her from the monsters. That is the redemption path. B, stop her. That's the suffering path. Or C, encourage her. That is the damnation path. And even without the graphic, that one's a pretty clear, pretty clear thing to be chit-chatting about. What do you do, right? And I'm struggling here only because I personally just am not a fan of firearms. They're scary and loud. And so would you go intervene in this situation where there are scary loud firearms wielded by a deeply unsettling young woman?
Yeah, this is a rough one. One of the things here is final fate for me, those are the sounding bells. We've been talking about this since it happened to Toby. When you see that, it's, shit's going down, to put it politely.
Yeah, and I'm yelling timber.
Yeah, no, and basically that's the thing is, do you take your time, audience, on this decision? It's going to be an important one, clearly. This one is part of Carl's current fate. When it says final fate, right, that implies that things are coming to that kind of stopping point, but it's been building up for a while. We've seen Eva a long time, and on those scenes with Carl, we've seen creepy smiley Carl. Things are really ramping up in Noi, and a lot of it is revolving around Carl. So this is definitely a decision you want to do the best you can in, audience. Yeah, I see a rally for redemption, but I know that's going to be back and forth. Again, redemption and damnation. Apparently nobody is interested in stopping her. They're either going to defend her from the monsters or encouraging her. That's where we're at right now, Lila.
And that doesn't surprise me, right? We get a lot of polarizing choices here on Silent Hill Ascension, and I'm sure this was going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until the last second and keep us on our toes and make our content planning just that much harder.
No, for sure. We're going to definitely come back to it at the end of the post show. We're going to discuss this a little more. For a lot of you are in our pre-show, and thank you for being there. But for those who weren't, we're going to talk about Norway again. We're going to talk about the story so far in Norway. That's going to be on your screen. Layla's going to walk us through it, and we'll make sure we'll put the new scenes we've seen in that context.
Absolutely. So, Vite is toast. Her plan to leave town fell through after she was burned to death by monsters. Astrid gets to meet Haugen's daughter, but finds only horror in a broken, clearly unhinged Haugen. Carl saw his creepy smile doppelganger in Ingrid's room, and if you were here for the pre-show, you also got to see Eduardo's creepy smile, and if you were one unfortunate viewer, your screen froze on it.
Which has to be the best thing. I love the idea of my smile stopping one viewer screen. It's like I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm talking to you at home. Anyways. So here's the thing with Norway, right? Is with that context, right, of Carl's final fate decision, I'm pretty sure Carl's psyche is mostly broken. But that said, Carl's current face is very much on redemption. I'm actually going to just check it quickly. You can always do this by clicking on the little information eye box whenever you look at one of the decisions. It puts it. Carl is on a positive hope and redemption fate path pretty strongly so in reality. So that's going to be really important as this decision is going to close.
Yeah, he has positive hope. That's great. That's surprising, and that's great. I guess he got caught a whiff of his true love, and then the spring was in the air. But yeah, I mean, hey, we remember, as we've said before, when we talked about endure scenes, making sure that hope as well as that fate is where you want it to be collectively. That's very important. That's going to be a lot. But Carl, you said he was mentally broken. I think you're correct, and I think he got that way before we met him. We met his wife. didn't seem like the most loving home. So, I'm very curious to see how the events will unfold of this final decision.
No, for sure. Like that's one of the things with Carl is, honestly, the audience really, I think, like Carl. Like they liked him as a character in the terms of like, and they want to protect him. That's what is represented there. Maybe some of those puzzles actually helped Carl, in the back as he was getting needed in the newer scenes. But anyways, we're going to shift quickly to Pennsylvania before kind of talking about the decision again. But the story so far in Pennsylvania is going to be under the screen. Layla's going to go in, and we're going to like contextualize that scene we saw with Faith in this context.
Absolutely. So, in Pennsylvania, Rachel finds Faith back at home, but can she be trusted? Rachel let the Foundation recruit die a horrible death, and Eric and Krista did not take part in the merging as Xavier requested. And as we were talking about in the pre-show, that sounds like a lot of trouble coming from Xavier more than anything else, right? Like Eric and Krista, they're adults, they can handle it. Krista herself walked up saying, "That's not my problem," which is just an apex predator move. Love Krista. But I do wonder how Xavier is going to react, because he loves to dabble. He loves to stick his little fingers in all the pies,
Yeah. And, Eric was like the new favorite toy boy, so to speak, right? Because he kind of like helped him, right? Xavier was catatonic. Eric's the one who went in there. So Xavier's like, oh, no, I'm done with this Rachel person. Now, Eric, here's somebody I can mold to what I'd like, essentially. And it's going to discover maybe not that easy. But one of the defining things with Eric, by the way, was that the audience clearly said that Eric's motivation was about Faith. Now, Rachel's with Faith. That Faith in quotation marks starts making more sense to me after that scene.
Yeah, that was what we saw of Faith, she is a child that tends to act out, but that was more than acting out, right? That was just straight up unsettling.
No, that was yeah. Like, I don't think that was acting out. That's just like, oh yeah, by the way, mommy, you'll die if you don't do what I tell you. Wait, what? Oh no, anyways, let's play hide and seek. Getting a little bit of time there.
Somebody in chat said, I think the purifier said, "Got him." It was the hardest I've laughed all week.
But, I'm glad the audience got you, Layla, because they are the ones who decide where the story goes. And on Mondays, we really like to talk about the decisions you, the audience, have made. It's important to reflect on the sinful things you've done. So we're going to have that on screen for you. Essentially, Layla's going to walk us through some of the top decisions from this past week.
Absolutely. So we got, will Eric sleep with Krista, as we just discussed? No, he will not. That was a redemption path. How will Carl handle Mete's plea to run away together? He said he would send her to safety. So much for that.
Wow, what a safety.
What a safety. And then how will Rachel respond to the recruit's blessing offer? She let them die.
Look, at least Rachel's being honest, right? Carl's like, no, I need to keep her safe. Oh, no. Well, this isn't what I planned for. Rachel's like, I don't want this. Whatever. I can't deal with this guy. He just
Rachel has had enough.
Yeah.
Rachel, much like I want to say Halle Berry in that film, possibly J-Lo, it has had enough. And I get it, from that perspective. I too, if I had just quit a job and then somebody came door to door to sell me something from that job, I too would say, the dogs can have you. You're not in like a valid emotional state at that point. You're grieving a job. And that's okay. That's fair. I get it, girl boss.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, in that environment, letting them die might actually be just saving them the hassle, right? Like they'll die eventually, right? So just a question of time. It's like, you know what? He doesn't need to go through all this hassle, all the interpolitics at the foundation. I'll just let him die. Just let him move on. He made the wrong choice. I'm just going to make sure that whatever needs to be enacted is enacted right away. But yeah, it's, again, honest. And to be fair, what happened, as you said, between Eric and Krista was handled between adults. Like, I think you're correct in saying Krista's like one of your favorite characters. I found it to be like one of those characters that like, not no nonsense, but kind of like, no, we got to move things forward. We got to get things sorted. And like, there was a particular scene I remember seeing where, obviously Rachel left. quit the foundation, all that. But like Krista was like, no, she had my back. Although that was like almost a rounding error in terms of decision power between the audience. So 50-50. But she was like, no, Rachel had my back. So she's not like trying to, backstab. She just states what's going on and goes, look, I don't need you if you're gonna like if you're not into this, it's okay. You're not into this. Like, no problem.
She really said, I want you to want me, I need you to need me. And he didn't, and didn't again. So, and that's fair. I agree, right? If somebody doesn't want you around, you don't need to be in their company. Don't debase yourself like that. And then it becomes their problem. And then, the thing we haven't talked about yet is Carl said, go be safe, my beautiful mass murderer girlfriend. And she got cooked.
Yeah. Oh, literally burned to a crisp. Toasty.
Maillard reaction all up on that lady.
Yeah. Please go to safety. You can run. Oh, well.
Yeah. So no safety for her, right? Just I guess the warm embrace of being roasted.
Yeah, it was a warm embrace. That's definitely a way to put it.
That lady is. Mass murderer. It's interesting how putting her in the context of a romance with this lonely, sad old man suddenly makes her slightly sympathetic, right? You're like, part of me kind of wanted them to be together. She killed people.
Yeah, I mean, they were together. And then, well, it's kind of nice, right? Like, you need to go. Oh, she's dead. Okay, well, this was nice and clean. And here's the thing, Leila. Let's go back and talk about Carl, because Carl's really kind of been becoming like the center of our attention as his final fate decision has appeared. That's going to be back on screen for you, the audience, the decision opening today. The final fate decision with Carl. Leila's going to walk us through it one last time, and then we'll break down. There's actually another opening decision today, which I'll briefly talk about as well in a bit.
Yeah, so how will Carl handle Ava's plan to save the town? A, defend her from the monsters, redemption. B, stop her suffering. Or C, encourage her, damnation. So, you got a couple days, really ruminate on it, really think on it, sleep on it, pray on it, do whatever it is you need, and guide Carl to this very climactic time in his life. Though I think he's kind of tired. He looks over having climactic times in his life. He seems like he needs a nice beach vacation.
Yeah, I think seeing yourself smiling creepily has got to be the breaking point, right? Like, everybody dying around you is one thing. Everybody being miserable around you is one thing. But seeing yourself in a, big smile that looks like some psychopath killer, not the best. I got to be honest, not what I like to see in the mirror at any time of the day, evening, night, whatever it is. No, thank you. So, Carl's kind of like honestly, he's got it rough, right? Girlfriend's toast. Wife died recently. Maybe that was a positive. That's a debatable one, but definitely a rough time for our old sad wet man.
Yeah, indeed sad and indeed wet and indeed old, and but this young whippersnapper with a gun is keeping him on his toes and will continue to until we figure out what the heck her deal is. So again, we all know the dichotomy here in the Source Show. Eduardo and I are developers. I know the story and Eduardo does not. And the struggle here is always that I'm always running 14 mental filters in my brain to not spoil anything. And so that's what if you're like, wow, Leila sure only knows one word and that word is bad, it's because I'm desperately trying not to tell you what's going to happen. You'll just have to come back and find out.
Yeah, and the good news is it's not going to be that far, right? You'll get that this week. Briefly before we kind of come to the end of our post show, there was another decision. We're not going to put that on screen. It's just a very simple one. It's how will Rachel play with Faith? With Faith, will she hide? Will she seek? Not just a two-part decision. Kind of a fun one, honestly, in my opinion. It's like, would you rather look for creepy daughter, or would you rather she tries to find you? I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather be the one looking in this.
I was gonna say, you made that sound like it was like an obvious choice, but I disagree with you. I am not letting that little prankster jump scare me. That is not happening. In that situation, I want control of the situation. I want to hear her little footsteps wherever she is in the house.
Also, traditionally, the child is the one who hides. So there's a lot there, but whatever you, the audience, chose. Obviously, if you want Rachel to probably suffer horribly trying to be careful, you can have her on.
Statistically.
Like, I mean, to be fair, this is what you, the audience, want to see. If you just want to see Rachel, like, scared to death, I mean, hiding sounds about right. And there's a rally on Hyde, so. But we'll see that go back and forth anyways. So, by the way, in chat, there's been the call to merging is accepting members. So why don't you do your recruitment activities? Because, Layla, we're coming to the end of kind of our post-show. We hope that, you know, the audience had a great time. There was a lot, right? Basically, last Friday, a lot of key scenes happened. Today, we had a little bit more. Obviously, that scene between Carl and Eva. And finally, Carl's final fate decision being up. That's the big thing. So that's going to come to a head. But, you know, relationship between Faith and Rachel is developing, wherever that leads. And you know, Astrid's still building. Like, she's still trying to go through all of this, and all is a lot, right? Because in all of this, she's just trying to find her son. Remember, Orphan's still missing. We don't know where he is. She hasn't had time to focus. She had to deal with some other missing daughter. So there we go. Now, you can stick around in the app after we're done with the puzzle on puzzles. One thing we have, though, is we got something on Wednesday. So on screen, Layla, if you could walk us through how like our shows work, and then well, there we go. The lead's been buried with like that last line.
That's okay. We can still lead up to it. Also, chat, you are out of pocket tonight, and I love it. But you can always join us here Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the pre-show at 5:40 p.m. Pacific. The show is always on weekdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then Eduardo, what's going on Wednesday?
Right. Jacob wanted really to come back, so he'll be back. He has a little bit of a smaller treat to show all of you. So like a little bit of the enjoyment in that post show. But as well, he'll be in my company during the development updates. So that'll be a chance for you to hear more from Jacob, essentially on how we treat your feedback, on how we make sure that you get the best experience possible. So he'll be around for that. So we'll start our post show with kind of a little unusual activity. You'll get to see that. We'll hope you enjoy it. And then after that, we'll do some development updates so you have some time. But for sure, Wednesday's sounding like a show not to miss, Layla. Between kind of that interview, but also what's going on in the show, right? Because Carl's final fate decision's coming up. You don't really want to miss this week.
Absolutely. And for folks saying that Jacob must have been so mad the merge didn't happen. Oh, yes, he was furious. It was awful. It was terrible. I couldn't even go to work that day. And well,
he made sure that the audience got to see the scene. He was like, we need to show them. We need to show them the merging. So the audience did get to see that. For those of you who are live in our Friday post show, you did get to see that. And obviously, it's part of your collective memories now. But what's part of, it's important for memory development to kind of take a break, sign off, go to sleep, and all that stuff. So we're going to have to end it. We're going to sign off here. We hope you had a delightful time in Layla's company, hopefully in mine as well. It's always a pleasure to be with all of you, the audience. We're going to see you back on Wednesday, but of course tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, you get to see a new show. So we hope you do enjoy that. If you want to watch it live, as usual, all the scenes are available on catch up if you do ever miss a day. Thank you so much for being with us in our adventure this far, and take care.